popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Oh my goodness, I have no idea. I have to turn this off. It's starting over again. I didn't realize that was going to happen. And we're here. Hey, everybody. How are you? I hope you're all well. And we're here. Look, Ginger is on her way. There has been a little snag in things, but we know she's coming. And we are just awaiting that. So in the meantime, we are here with you, and what I'd like to do in that case is bring on Jack, because I don't want to hello, Ms. Varner. How are you? Good to see you. Hello, Jack.
Hello, darling.
Well, we are awaiting the arrival of the Queen.
Yes, it's called Traffic.
And if our special guest, other special guest would like to say something, he could say it in private chat.
Oh, hello. Yeah, it's really nice. Hi, Carol. And Nat.
And there's Nat.
George Mark.
Watch this. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen. Hold on a second.
He gets so excited about all these things. You know what I'm saying?
Change my banner here. We got to banner out. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good grief.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. In the guys.
You're such a fan.
Joshua, I am a fan. Ladies and gentlemen, Ginger Minj, the one and only Joshua Eads Brown.
Hi,
Ladies
honey.
and gentlemen.
Hey, how are you?
Oh my gosh. How are you, my dear boy?
I'm a little wet. I got stuck in the rain, but I'm here, and that's all that matters.
Goodness,
Well,
yeah.
I was because you were on the show. I was very excited. How wonderful.
Everybody's going, oh, and everybody is going, hi. Oh, did you see what Doug wrote?
No, I did
What?
not.
I can't see any. Oh, wait, I have to hit comments.
Doug Michael Lucas said, oh, we hate snagged minge.
We do hate a snagged minge, but a moist minge is never a bad thing.
No.
Oh.
Josh, would you prefer Ginger? Josh, what would you prefer I call you?
Ginger. Just call me
Great.
Ginger. It's easier.
Great.
Got it.
I am thrilled to have you here tonight. I truly am. And you know, before we start in earnest, as they say, we've got a little surprise for you.
For me?
Yeah,
Mhm.
we do. Because we're going to do a couple of interesting things tonight.
You're in such trouble.
Oh, Deanna Lucas Varner made it just. Sorry, you got caught before the downpour. Oh my goodness. There you go. I've got some great stuff. I'm excited about it. I did a little digging today on the internet.
You're in such trouble now.
Found some
Probably.
stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to maybe do a little bit of Ginger Minj trivia.
Okay.
And we're going to very, very most assuredly do. Did Ginger Minj say this on Drag Race? We're definitely going to do that. And I'm hoping you remember. But before we get into that, boys and girls, I've got an old friend of yours who's going to co-host us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from New York, that toddle in town starts spreading the news. It is Mr. Michael Walters.
Hi.
Hello, people. Hello, people who need people.
They're the luckiest people in all
in the world.
Unless
They really
they're
are.
Mimi Feldstein.
Yes, that's that's very true. That's very true from what I understand. And I get to hear about it quite frequently.
I know you get all the good gossip.
We've got Ryan Dixon just chimed in with wine, football, and my favorite asthmatic crossdresser. Okay.
It's true. It's true. It's
Indeed.
the ad that gets me.
Now, Ginger, wow. Yes, I know it has been a few years, okay, since your first soiree across the drag race stage. What a rather meteoric rise, I must say. Would you agree?
Well, isn't it like what they always say? It's like you have to work your entire life to become an overnight sensation.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's exactly how it felt, because what Michael can attest more than probably anybody else. We were working that grind. We were at Sleuths at night, running to the Parliament House, running to Poltz, running to Southern. We were working here, there, and everywhere every day of the week.
Anywhere there's a gig.
Living. And then all of a sudden I'm on the TV show and I'm around the world and we're like, oh, well, how lucky for you. It's like, it's a little bit of luck, but it's a lot of hard work too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely, positively. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And throughout that little bit of luck, you've had someone with you. I wonder who that might be. Maybe this fella right here, huh? I love these pictures, Ginger.
I do too.
I truly do. They're delightful. And forgive me, I trolled your Facebook.
I told you.
Normally, I can find pictures of a very young Ginger, or a young version, very young, like little kids. But you had none, you bastard.
They've all been scrubbed clean.
Yeah, I imagine. You've done
Or if
such
you're me,
great stuff.
or if you're me, he'll find something embarrassing and put it up.
Which is even more fun.
He's very good at that. He's very good at that, Ginge. He's very good at that.
That's why you never let your friends. It's downpouring at my house right now.
You never let your friends. You never let your friends take pictures of you when you've been drinking.
Well, here's the actual story behind it. Is those were all on my MySpace way back in the day, with including me. And I was never a big social media person. I still am not. Like, I've had to learn and teach myself how to become excited about it. But I was never one of those people that's like, I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to post it for the world to see. So it was when I got on my first season of Drag Race, contractually, it's in there that I had to have every form of social media that came out. I had to post on every single one of them every single day, and I had to really learn to love it. So pictures of me before my first time on Drag Race, which was 8 years ago, was my first time. So that's kind of why there's none of those that exist.
It's really been 8 years. Wow.
8 years. Oh, it's been longer than that since we filmed season 7, but it's weird because it feels like it's been a part of my life forever, and it feels like it just came into my life yesterday. It's very strange.
And it's going to be coming into your life again. All sorts of stuff.
I'll never shake it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You've got so much, but I want to start with that's. I love this story, assuming what I read was true. Of course, not everything on the internet is true, but tell us, Ginger Minj, where did that come from?
It came from Sleuth's Mystery Dinner Theater, from my drag mother and Michael's drag sister, Miss Rusty Fawcett, who was the first Miss Orlando everything. Miss Gay Orlando, Miss Orlando America, Miss Orlando Continent, all of them. She was that. She was the very first Footlight player hired at the Footlight Theater at the Parliament House. And she worked with us at Sleuth's Mystery Dinner Shows. She actually got me my job there. And the first thing that she did was she painted half of my face. And I said, well, what about the other half? She said, oh, that's on you. She said, I could sit here and I could paint you and you can have one great night. Or I can teach you what to do. You can learn to paint yourself and then you can have a career. So I looked like I had gotten, like crayons caught in the microwave. Like half of my face had melted down for the first month or so. But it really was one of those kicks in the ass that I needed to really learn how to do it. Sure. Anyway, so I'm doing drag there at Sleuth's, and I wanted to enter my first pageant, which was hosted by Michael as Dame Edna. It was Ms. Gay Days pageant. And I needed suddenly like wigs and gowns and swimsuits and talents and all these kinds of things that come along with it. And I didn't have any money. So Sandy, the owner of Sleuth, said, if you will let me pick your name, if you'll take this name, I will pay for everything. And I said, well, what's the name? And she said, Ginger Minj. And I had heard the story about what had happened at Sleuth's. Right after they first opened, there's this mix and mingle portion. They were doing Squire's Inn, which is the Sleuth show ever. And during the mix and mingle, one of the old man Simon screams across to another actor in the theater, hey, Nigel, do you think this one's got a Ginger Minj? And she happened to be a British woman. She knew what it meant, and she was very offended, so she punched him and she broke his jaw. And it turned into this story that everybody talked about, but nobody was allowed to talk about. And Sandy said, you know, if you'll let me just kind of own this, if you'll take this name and turn it into something good, I will pay for everything so that it's no longer the bad connotation.
Oh my God, that is possibly one of the funniest things I've heard. Actually, this week is the second funniest thing. No, it's the first funniest thing. Something comes in second to it, where someone told me the other night while I was watching Ladies of Viola Heights down there at I was watching, and then of course the mighty Doug Weiser. We got to mention Doug because it's Doug month.
It's Doug month. And Doug, because of Sleuths, Doug is the one who taught me how to read somebody and have them still love you. Doug taught me everything that I knew about comic timing. And it's stuff like jokes that he taught me I'm still telling today across the world and everything. He was the funniest person I've ever met.
Yeah. The good stuff is always good. But someone told me the other night that I'm not going to say who, but that a certain person who was in that video that we saw actually punched another person in the mouth. And that person elevated greatly, in my opinion, at that moment. It was wonderful. That's just how horrible a person I am. Not really.
Actually, really quick, go down to Lori's comment.
I am putting that up right now. Yeah. This is Lori Pascal. I have a wig head with your name on it from a wig Rusty made for me for Stale Magnolias, a treasured piece of...
It is only dirty if you take it that way. And I know you, so you do take it always.
Yes, she does.
We love Lori.
Oh, yeah.
The best. I adore her. What else have we got here? Here's something from Doug Lucas. Oh, good. That Doug taught you because Michael reads our
Bridge Burners. Oh, Doug.
Oh, but okay, Michael, is he wrong?
No, he's not wrong.
I didn't think so.
Well, so Doug taught me how to read somebody and have them love me. And Michael taught me how to read somebody and shut them down.
And you need both.
You do need both of those things, particularly after being on RuPaul's Drag Race, where everybody in the world, so every 13-year-old with a Twitter account suddenly thinks that they are a skilled reader. Yeah. And most of the times they're not. They're just assholes. And you have to learn how to very quickly and very eloquently shut them down in a way that makes them know you think they're a piece of shit, but you're not saying that outright.
It's almost killing them with kindness, isn't it? I mean, it's almost.
There's not always too many kind words.
Not always kind.
The way that you string them together it's a delicate balance, and I learned that from Dame Edna.
Absolutely.
The master, the mistress, I should say.
I will tell you that the fact is, myself, and I'd been doing this. I don't do drag, thank God, because oh dear. But thought about it for about that long. But I'm a magician, and I have taken many things. I have taken many a thing from Michael and used it, frankly, and I'm grateful for it. And Michael, someone said Michael is a treasure, and then said a treasure that should be buried deep. Okay, Ryan is always happy.
Ryan's always got a line from somebody else.
Indeed. Indeed. And my odds are that, Michael, you said that at one point or other.
I did.
Now,
Ron's on the show.
And so did Betty Davis. That's where the air.
Indeed. Back to Ginger. I want to go in. I really want to go in. I have my iPad with all my notes on it.
You're so dead now.
Let's play a little game here.
Oh dear.
And odds are you've said all of this because I really haven't prepared anything that you haven't said. This is my absolute favorite. Sweet bitch, have you met me? Did you say that?
I did. I said that on season 7.
Do you remember to who you said it and why?
I said it in a confessional, and it was one of the guest judges had said something about me being sweet. I don't remember who it was though.
Mm-hmm. That's great. What else have I got? I've got other things. No,
who was it? Do you know?
No, it doesn't give me that information.
Talk about doing your research. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, no, listen, I can only get so much information from fucking.
I thought you would have binge watched all of 3 seasons of my seasons.
No, Michael did.
Let me tell you, my late husband could probably be sitting here. He'd be sitting right there doing chapter notes. Okay,
yeah,
he would know.
Chris would know.
I'm impressed that I remember that much of it because I never watched season 7.
Oh,
well, I'm sure.
I only watched a few episodes at viewing parties. It's just weird, like the first going into season 7, it was like a whole new experience. So I knew nothing about storytelling and editing and all that kind of stuff. So when I watched the first episode and I saw that things were playing out in a very different way than they did in reality, it kind of made me gun shy, and I was like, I don't think I can watch the rest of it. Even when it was like edited in my favor, it was still really difficult to watch. So, I haven't watched most of season 7 even to this day.
I imagine sometimes it can be very raw.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I will say I watched all of All Stars 6 because that was such a great experience. Like from day 1 to the end. It was the first time we got to the end and we were like, I don't give a shit who wins. Whoever wins is taking the rest of us to dinner. And we made Kylie take us to the most expensive steakhouse, vegetarian that she is, and treat us all. And it was great. But I had such a good experience that I knew that there was really nothing that could go wrong on that one. So I was okay to watch it. But I haven't seen any of All Stars 2 and very little of season 7.
Yeah. Because they slant so many things.
Well, it's they do slant things, but it's also like you're in your own little bubble when you're there and you're filming. So things that are like monumental to you personally in your storyline are left on the cutting room floor, and you're seeing things that you didn't know were going on around you. And it's like, well, but why are we going to talk about this? Like, let's talk about this thing that actually happened that was really big. It's just weird. It's like this alternate reality that you are a part of, but you never were really in. It's strange.
Now, the one thing you have to admit, though, is that this was a great springboard for you because movies and stuff, and most of it's related to RuPaul.
Yeah, and I'm one of the few that they always ask me, girl, you've lost 3 times. Would you go back again? Yes, I will go back every time they call me. I have a great time when I'm there. And I know what it is now. Like, I know what storytelling is. I know that there's an hour and a half to put, 60 hours worth of footage into. And I just go and I have fun.
Which I think is the key.
Yeah, All Star 6 was so fun. And it was such a great experience. And it really kind of, I feel like that was the first time that people got a real good sense of who I am outside of drag. Like this kind of me.
Oh my goodness, my phone is ringing. I'm hoping this works because someone. Hang on a second here. Can you hear me? Hang on a second. Oh Christ! Can you hear me? Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Okay. Turn down your TV.
Turn down our TV.
Ginger. Someone wants to say hello to you.
Okay.
Through my phone. I'm going to show you who it is. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this.
Oh, David Gerard.
Mm-hmm.
I love David Gerard.
David, if you'd like to say hi to Ginger, you're
Josh.
How are you?
I'm great. No one ever had to teach you how to do comedy timing. You were brilliant at it. You were brilliant at singing. You were brilliant at dancing. You were brilliant at acting. You are you, and you earned every single penny that you busted your ass for.
Well, I appreciate that, David, but it's also because of people like you giving me opportunities and nonsense to really kind of show off all of my comedy with the drag.
Someone who's damn talented, I don't let them walk out the door.
Oops, I just dropped David. Oh, my God.
I don't let him walk.
David,
out
I dropped you on the floor. Hang on a second. It'll take a moment. I have to go down here and get you.
It's probably not the first time.
Oh, I just dropped him twice. Well, fuck it. Okay. There's probably an omen in there somewhere. David.
The
David.
production values on this show.
Jesus,
They're so high, aren't they, Michael?
This is
So
a one-man show. David, thank you so much for coming
Love
in.
you, David. So, David, when I was first starting out doing drag, I started because of theater. I started at Fringe Festival with Boys, 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 then went straight to Sleuths. And this was all theatrical based drag. So it was before I got my name, before I started doing like real drag. And I was working as a costumer for the Starlight Dinner Theater, which was the old Mark II. And David was directing Nonsense 2 with an all-female cast. And he came up to me one day when we were doing fittings, and he was like, "We lost our Mother Superior. Would you be interested in it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm a boy and I'm also like younger than the entire cast, but sure." So I put on the habit and a little bit of lipstick and the glasses, and I auditioned for them. And he like fought for me to have that role. They were really against it, the people that owned the theater. And it turned out to be really big for them. They got a lot of press out of it. I got a lot of press out of it. And it was
Mark Howard allowed that?
It wasn't Mark. It was
Mark would have allowed it. Remember, he put me in as Domina, and a funny thing happened on the way.
This is true.
Which I saw and I loved. It was Dory Parkman in her family. Like, Dory was really on board, but it was kind of her very conservative family surrounding her.
Sure.
Like, oh, I don't know if we should do that. They had done Nonsense Men the year before, which is the all-male cast. And it went really well, but they were like, I don't think we should mix, maybe one drag artist with it. So we did it, and it became a game for all the people coming to see the show to figure out which one was the drag queen. And most of them thought it was Sister Robert Ann because she was 6'2", flat-footed.
Which brings us to a very interesting thing that I had under trivia, but this is very nice. Despite considering herself a part of the bitter old lady brigade, in quotes, during season 7, Ginger was only 29 at the time of filming.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you little shit.
So the bitter old lady brigade, it came about, it was a joke because all the old school drag queens kind of migrated to one area of the workroom, and we were the ones that had come up through the clubs. We were the ones who, we were working for $50 and 2 drink tickets here, there, and everywhere. And the very first gay bar I ever went to was Attitudes in Leesburg, when that was a thing for a brief amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
We had to park in the ditch across the highway and run across the highway into the bar while all the rednecks were sitting out on their trucks, like throwing bricks and rocks and bottles and all sorts of stuff.
Oh my God.
So like I had come up through a very rough drag scene where you really had to want to do it. It wasn't for financial reasons. You just had to want to do it. And that was kind of the group that we were in. So they came up to us, the story producers, and they were like, "What's your group called? What's your group called? What's your group called?" And one day we were like, "The Bitter Old Lady Brigade." I don't know. And it became this thing that, like, it was never that in the room. Like, we all kind of helped each other. We had our moments as the separate groups, but we all helped each other. So it was funny to see the way that in storytelling, they really pitted us against each other like the Sharks and the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
other than
yeah.
jumping. It was crazy, and people got really upset that Miss Fame and I were the same age, and we were in the two opposite group. And I was like, it's more of a mindset. It's like old school drag.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, myself, I've always played the older. I've always played the old guy, you know, until I lost about. Well, no, even now I've lost 100 pounds, and I'm still playing the old guy. You know, but now I am an old guy, so it's kind of funny. I was just too late. What else have we got here? One of my favorites. I'm not going to do that one yet. Eggs. What was that?
Oh my God.
What was that?
Yes.
It was fun. A lot of people they come to me like, what was the most fun you had on season 7? Was it eggs? No, that was not nearly as much fun as Rue Hollywood Stories, where it was just me, Katya, and Kennedy, like getting into this food fight and rolling around on the ground. Like that was fun. Eggs was something that in the moment I knew was going to stick with me for a very long time. I knew that out of everybody there, I understood who Divine and John Waters and Edith Massey, I knew who these people were. I understood what the challenge was and what they were asking from us. But they kept asking us to go bigger and bigger and bigger. Oh, there she is. There's Divine.
Yes, it is.
We did
everything, really.
We did 5 takes. And in every take, there was like probably 15 dozen eggs that they were they were off stage just chucking them at us. So by the end of it, I'm covered in hundreds of raw eggs. In the last take, which is the take that they used, Trixie cracked the egg in my eye. But he's like, the show must go on. So we just kind of kept going. I'm just there going, And the lights are so hot. They're
frying it, right?
Frying the eggs all around us. I had to end up throwing those pads away. I had bought like brand new hips and ass pads, and I had to throw them away because no matter how many times I washed them, they just smelled like rotten eggs.
So which brings me to a question. Are ass pads expensive?
Yes, but they're a very good investment. I would say they're usually between $150 and $200, and they come in the shorts. And they'll last you for years. Like I usually don't change mine out unless I'm going for like a specific look where I have to have, smaller or wider hips. I usually don't change them for, half a decade.
That's wow. So drag is expensive. As we all know. You're the outfit that CJ sent me a photo of you in was absolutely magnificent for the
that was
wait a minute. Wait, I don't want to show that yet.
You did.
But I did. Ladies and gentlemen, has Ginger met Dolly?
Many times.
That is actually Dolly Parton, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is a absolutely stunning outfit, I must say.
And we weren't even going to take a picture that night. I was just doing the like pre-show entertainment when her exhibit at the Grammy Museum opened. I was all the way across the room and she came in and all of a sudden I hear, Ginger! I turn around and like, oh my God, Dolly Parton, stop screaming my name. And so she called me over and she wanted to take a picture before anybody else got in there. So we snapped that picture and I told her, I was like, it's so weird to me. We've worked together several times. We've met each other even more than that.
Oh, really?
To me that Dolly Parton knows who I am, calls me by name, and wants to take a picture with me. It's always very surreal to me. And I told her this story when we were on set for Dumplin. When I was really young, my parents, we didn't go to Disney. We went to Gatorland. But we would always we would take a road trip to Dollywood. Because Dollywood used to do, you buy one day, you get the next free. So if something we could afford, we went. And they were always doing concerts. And her brother, Randy, was doing this concert with Sawyer Brown at Dollywood. And we went and we saw it. And she popped in as like the special surprise guest at the end. So they have this long table set up, and I'm probably like 7 at this point, 7, maybe 8. And they're selling these t-shirts and they're signing them. So I'm getting fussy because we're in line and I don't give a shit about who any of these people are at this point in my life. And I remember she calls down the line. She's like, honey, I'm the only diva here. You need to stop that crying. Pass them over. So they pass me down the table, put the shirt on me, and she signs it. And she said, anybody who can upstage Dolly Parton is going to be a star, pumpkin. And gave me back to my mom. So I told her this story. And of course, she's being very sweet. She's like, oh, yeah. She said, well, I don't remember it, but it sounds like something I'd say. And look at you now. Was I wrong?
God damn, isn't that something?
I love that.
The author of the book Dumplin wrote a follow-up book about a little redheaded gay boy named Pumpkin in honor of that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and she's got all her books are so good.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite photos that I saw, and it's interesting. I found this photo, but I saw a quote combined with this photo at another time. Find someone who looks at you the way John Waters does.
Oh yeah.
How cool is that? That's John fucking Waters, man.
And he's the nicest person.
Yeah, he is.
I have heard that actually.
He came backstage. None of the guest judges ever come back and talk to the girls. They never do. They're usually off to their next flight, whatever they got to do. He made a point of coming backstage to tell me, thank you so much for letting me spend a little time with my friend. He said, you know, Edith Massey hasn't been here in years, and you really kind of captured that. So then he stayed in touch, and we talked a little bit over email. And then our Christmas tours mirrored each other, or not mirrored. They went like everywhere I went. He had a show in the same place the same night.
Wow.
So we were on flights together every single day. And our first day, I was watching that Goodbye Christopher Robin movie. I'm getting a little emotional, like wiping away the tears. And this hand just comes from the seat behind me and goes, "It's okay. I watched that yesterday. I cried too." Then he would start getting our seats switched, so we would sit next to each other every day, and we just talk about people. And then when I went and did this, I hosted the talkback for his book when he released it. That's where that picture's from. He just picked up the conversation where it had left off 2 years earlier. There's 2 people in the world that do that. That's him and Lady Bunny are the only 2 I know that can end the conversation and then pick it right back up, no matter how long it's been since you started it. And he told me when we were doing that event, he said, "Can I tell you the reason I love you so much?" And I said, "I would love that, John Waters. Please tell me." And he said, "It's because you remind me so much of Divine in the sense that you're wholly original. You are big. You shouldn't be beautiful, but you really are beautiful." And he said, "What I hate most about all of these other fat drag queens is they all come to me with the white hair and the blue eyeshadow up to here, and they all want to be the next Divine." And he said, "That's offensive to me because there will never be another Divine. And I like that you have never tried to be another Divine, which is what makes you most like Divine."
Isn't that awesome? So
That's
did he,
right.
was it him who said, "Thank you for letting me," when you said that, "Thank you for letting me see my friend again"?
Yeah, because he had said, you know, Edith Massey had passed on so many years ago that he felt that what I did with that character in Eggs, 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 it really kind of put him back in that moment where they were filming that scene. He said that I really captured that essence of her.
That is such a kick, because Michael tells a story very similar to that, in that, and I believe it was June Taylor. Am I right, Michael?
It was Jack Philbin, the executive producer of Honeymooners.
Jack Philbin said, after seeing Michael do Take Me Along, "Thank you for," God, it's hard for me to say this. thank you for letting me see my friend again.
Mhm.
Both Michael and I, as you can see from the ending of my opening, I don't know, you weren't here for the opening, but Jackie Gleason is one of my favorite things in the entire nation. One of the reasons why this asshole is one of my favorite people in the world. I made him audition as Jackie Gleason once for me. It was very funny.
For Pirates Adventure.
One of the wonderful quotes, I got to find it because I absolutely love this. Where is it?
Well, while you look, I just have to say, Take Me Along. Nobody ever knows that musical.
It's a great musical.
It's so good.
Yes.
So years and years ago at the Ice House Theater, and it's it's one of the few shows I can still sing every song from it.
Yep.
Ooh. Wow. Here's the one. I love this. And I absolutely adore this. I'm a cross-dresser for Christ. I'll have you down on your knees and begging for Jesus in a minute. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
If you want
assuming
to piss off a Republican, that's a really good
That's
start.
the way to do it. Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of people took that as a joke. And yeah, the way that it's worded, it's meant to be funny. But I was raised Southern Baptist. And this show right here, Crossdresser for Christ, it was my life story, kind of how I grew up in this very rural, very Southern Baptist town. What I was not okay, but how my mom made me feel like it was okay, and how I kind of reconciled those two sides of me once I became Ginger. So a lot of the best story about that is we were in Milwaukee. No, we were in Madison, Wisconsin. And we were getting protested by all these people like, this is blasphemous. This is awful. And we went out there. I went and talked to them. I was like, hey, look, this is kind of my life story. And this is why I tell it. Come and see the show. They all came to see the show. They were the first ones to give me a standing ovation. And they said, well, I didn't realize what the story was. And I said, well, maybe you should, really watch a story or read a story or listen to a story before you jump to conclusions.
Isn't that often the way, though? Don't you find that often the way?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And then we win. You know what I'm saying?
There's a picture somewhere where I got one of their protest signs and I'm holding it right before the show. I walked into the show with the protest sign that night.
Well, had I found that, it would be on here so fast.
Heck yeah.
We have an audience question, Ginger. Would you have gone method, oh dear God, and eaten poo if you had gotten the scene that Violet Pearl fame got?
Well, not that they would have ever asked me to, but the thing is, I've always been the first one to suffer for my art. There's nothing that I probably wouldn't do if it meant we got the right reaction,
Yeah.
That's suffering.
It's very funny you would say that because Michael and I used to do a pre-show at Pirates Dinner Adventure where we certainly suffered for our art and got the laughs. Oh, God, did we?
We made the audience suffer, too.
And that's the way to do it, Michael.
Now, I like to describe myself as a glamour toad, which I think is delightful, quite frankly.
And it really struck a chord with people around the world.
Indeed.
I've never felt kind of like what John Waters was saying in that instance where I shouldn't be pretty because I'm really I'm kind of the antithesis of beauty standards. I'm short, I'm round, I've got all this here. Even when I'm skinny, I've got all this right here. My Aunt Joanne used to call me a blow pop whenever I was little. I was teeny tiny little body, this big old head. And in spite of all of that, I really do believe that I have created this persona that is absolutely beautiful. And a lot of people around the world, they call themselves the glamour tadpoles. Yeah. They're like, I look just like you. And I always thought that was a bad thing. I was told it was a bad thing. But because you wore blue eyeshadow, I put a little bit on and girl, I felt fabulous. That's really all you have to do.
How does that feel when you hear something like that?
Great. I never set out to be anybody's role model. I never, ever did. It was not my goal. But kind of the most unexpected but best part of the gig has been, you know, hearing from people around the world, but especially the kids that were like me. They're like, oh my God, I'm from this town where I didn't even know drag queens or gay people existed. I thought I was such a freak. And I saw you and I realized you're a freak too. And I'm a freak with you. And you've changed my life. And it's really important. Like all the bullshit of the show and the politics and all that aside, just kind of having that representation on TV is something that I wish that I would have had when I was little, because I probably wouldn't have felt so bad about myself for so long.
I'm holding up my arm like I'm in the pews at Joy MCC right now.
Yeah.
I really am.
Can I tell you something? I really want to tell Josh something. When we spoke, and I didn't know if I would bring this up, but when you did Mrs. Lovett, and you know that I adore that because you know I've told you like 20 million times. It wasn't a big audience, you know, hey. But there was a gentleman and his wife who were sitting in front of me, and they were reading the program and everything, and they went, and the one guy said to his wife, he goes, "That's a good looking woman." And I went, and I did, and she looked at him, she goes, "I think it's a man." And they were older. It was an older couple. Saying older, but it was an older couple. And he looked back, goes, "Well, that's a good looking man." And I'm back there going, "Oh my God." And I so have meant to tell you this for years, but just, you know, I thought it was fabulous.
Well, the men in the audience always loved it when I came out for Act 2, because, you know, Mrs. Lovett gets her money. She goes through a transformation. And I had my tits just here. My head was sitting on them.
Actually, that's when he said it, you know.
I had to come out, duck down, so all you saw were the headlights. And then I came up, and it usually got a good reaction from the boys. That was fun. It was so weird the way I got to do that role. It was like a whole bunch of bullshit with less than a week's worth of time. It's one that I would really like to do again and actually have some time to do it.
Yeah, you were just thrown right into that.
You've done, I mean, the classics. Both you and Michael have done Zaza, and I did not get to see you in person as Zaza, but I did get to. Whereas I did get to see Michael twice. Jesus, but I got to see you on online with some clips. Delightful.
Thank you.
One of my
that was the first role that I saw Michael do, like in person, because I was doing the song Mascara for this. It was at the Melon Patch Theater, and we were doing like some Best of Broadway review or something. And this was a big deal because there'd never been drag in Leesburg on that stage, you know? So I remember reaching out to Michael on the internet and being like, "Hi, my friends told me you're doing this role and I need help." So he called me on the phone and talked to me for like an hour about, okay, when you sing this line, that's when the eyelash has to go on. But that eyelash should have been glued 2 minutes before the song started. And like, it was all the little tips and tricks, and I wrote them down. And it's something that really helped me when I went and did the role all those years later. And I saw him in it. It was so good. But my favorite one that I saw Michael do was Thomas Andrews in Titanic.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, I stage managed that. I watched him do that more times than I can think about.
I loved it. It was just so different because I had seen you as Domina in Forum. I had seen you as Zaza in Lacage, but to see you as Thomas Andrews was like a completely different type of role, a completely different character. It was a really good.
To see someone as a man is always a shock, you know.
It's a little bit of a shock, but it was good.
Well, let me ask you this. This is something that's been running across my mind. You've got kind of a heavy weight on your shoulders, in that you and Jinx are thought of as the two most durable of the live entertainers from Drag Race. You guys are the ones who actually, and God forgive me if I'm missing somebody, but I've heard from a lot of people, there's a lot of the Drag Race queens who go out and they'll do 3 numbers, lip sync 3 numbers, and do their meet and greets and their VIPs, and that's the end of their show. Now, you go in, you give them a show. Jinx goes in with Vendela or by herself, and she puts on a show.
Yeah.
And that's a heavy weight on your shoulders, I would think.
It is, but it's also really good because a lot of times it's unexpected. Like we, just 2 days ago, I was in Denton, Texas. I literally flew in right before the show, got ready, did the show, went back to the airport, and came home. And
thank God you were in Texas. Let's keep you safe. Yes.
But I had never been to Denton, Texas, and it's actually it's like a very progressive college town, very sweet people. And I got there. They've been doing this event 5 years in a row. They've been trying to get me all 5 years, but I was never available. So we made it work this year. And they were like, you've got like a 45-minute block of time. Just do whatever you want to do. So I did my one-woman show. I went out there and I sang the songs and I told the stories and I interacted with the audience, and it was done. And they came up to me and they were like, that was amazing. I was like, oh, well, I could have been better on, this song, or my voice wasn't what it should have been, whatever. They were like, no, every other girl that we've had has lip synced a couple songs and then left. And you did like a full 45-minute show, and you
a real show.
Yeah, and it's always nice when they don't expect it, because you can see how exciting it is for them to really get their money's worth. But there is also that added pressure of, if I don't go out there and nail it, because it is always me and Jinx. We're the two that they always expect to nail it, and if we don't for whatever reason, then we're not cut the same slack that everybody else is. It's like, well, see, they are just another drag queen, aren't they? Or she's saying she should have lip synced it. But
I can't think that would ever happen.
I am absolutely the worst drag race fan ever. Okay, frankly, I watched because Chris watched. I'm going to tell you right now, and I told you this the very first time I ever met you, which was only a very short time ago. Oddly enough, figure that shit out. I said, you should have fucking won. Okay. And you should have fucking won. And I also said in the same breath,
as a plus-size drag queen, it should have been you before Lawrence Chaney, even though I think he's hilarious.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. It's such a... I always waffle back and forth with how I actually feel about it.
Well, sure.
I do think that I should have won season 7. It's just based on track record. If it had been seasons 1 through 6, there was no way that I wouldn't have won. But they had just had Jinx and Bianca back to back.
Yeah.
And it was like, we don't know that we want another funny girl. They didn't expect season 7 to really kind of become the one that all of the Instagrammers and Facebookers and all that, they didn't think it was going to be the social media sensation it was. So at the last minute, it really changed. Mm-hmm. And I know that because I've been told by RuPaul herself that I should have won that season. But if I had won that season, I wouldn't have had the longevity that I've had with the franchise. Mm-hmm. Because there were a lot of people that even the ones that hated me were like, well, I don't like that bitch, but she should have won. And then when I was done dirty on All Stars 2, the way that all shook out, it really got people to rally behind me. So, but by the time I came back for All Star 6, the world had kind of shifted the way that they felt about me. Mm-hmm. Way that they kind of felt about the plus size queens on the show. We were finally taken seriously. I was the first plus size girl to make it to the finals.
Boom!
And I've been there twice now, and I've been so close to winning 2 times out of 3. And I was happy to see. It was weird for me because when I did my UK tour, Lawrence Chaney always opened for me. And when I was always in New Zealand or Australia, Kita Mean would open for me back when she was still really for her surgery. So to sit there and watch the 2 of them win back to back, and then me not for the 3rd time, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt.
Sure it did.
You want to be happy for your friends, and I was. I'm still very happy for both of my friends.
Sure.
But you want to be happy for you too.
I wasn't even unhappy for me. I was just so thrilled that these other countries, these other franchises have no problem embracing the plus size girls and giving them their crowns. But here, I'm just afraid it'll never happen.
I don't know. Things are changing. Seriously.
Well,
it's hard, but
But in the gay community, this is tough. This is tough. But
Yeah.
let me tell you, Ginger, and I want to, and forgive me for what I said the other night. I don't know if you remember what I said.
I don't.
But
I think you.
Thank God you don't, but I'm going to repeat it now. I said you suffered from what I call in our community, generally in our community, the fat girl syndrome.
Oh, I do remember that, but I didn't take it in a bad way. I mean, it's absolutely true.
It was not meant in such a way. I think my friend Michael here also can understands what I'm saying.
I don't have the curse though. I'm wearing boxy clothes. I'm wearing things that have no tits, no hips, no nothing. And so if I get something that is cut, flatteringly, I usually can pull it off.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, my dear, wonderful friend, Doug Michael Lucas, who is Michael's partner, says this: I would have assumed that someone so close to the show would almost see winning as a formality. Fascinating to learn there's a emotional tie there.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's true. Like I said before, we got to the end of All-Star 6 and we didn't truly care which one of us won. I felt like that was the first season ever where it got to the top 4. It was like, you're a great winner, you're a great winner, you're a great winner, you're a great winner. But there is this, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of responsibility for the plus size community, the people that have rooted for you through 3 seasons. I've been on more episodes of Drag Race than any other contestant. I felt like I really was letting people down, and that's where the emotional part of it came in, because it felt like there was like literally there was nothing else I could do to kind of claim this victory.
Believe me, viscerally, you let no one down, because all I did was sit there and go, well.
And it's okay. Like, it's not something that lasted for a long time, but in that moment, it was just this thing like, oh my God, all these, like, I'm the representation for these people. And once again, it's not good enough. And that it felt emotional. I felt emotionally responsible.
Oh, yes. That makes perfect sense.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
But remember, and I know you do. I know you remember the people have written you and said, "Oh my God, you're me."
Yeah.
You've validated me.
Yeah.
How fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Well, we found out, we filmed our reaction to the winner the day before it aired.
Yeah.
So we already knew. So in my head, I'm like trying to process how I was going to handle it on social media, like what I was going to say so that my fans knew I felt sorry that I didn't win for their sake, but I was also very excited for Kylie. And I am. And I love Kylie. I've loved her for years. We worked together at the Parliament House for years. Like, I just love her. So it was trying to figure out the way to say it, but I didn't have to, because I woke up. That was the best thing about it being on streaming and not all airing at the same time. Yeah. I woke up, and through the entire day, it was just all of these people just kind of giving me their love and boosting me up and making me feel better about it, letting me know that they understood how it shook out or why it shook out, or even if they didn't understand it, they still appreciated what I brought to it. Mm-hmm. And then it started a very important conversation amongst all of the fan base that kind of took off and went viral for a minute about, all right, we've had Ginger and Eureka 2 times be eligible to win this thing. Both of them would have been very worthy winners, and it's gone the opposite direction each of those times. Why does this keep happening? What is it going to take for a plus-size girl to finally win? And it opened a lot of conversations about that I didn't even have to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. But you spearheaded in your own way.
Yeah, and Eureka and I kind of, we joined forces in the way of, like, we understand what you're saying. Please don't take away from the person who actually won, but do continue this conversation, because I think some good can come from it.
Well,
yes.
Hopefully, this is a very interesting
Tiana. Yeah. Go ahead, Michael.
Tiana, okay. She says you could never let us down. That's my sister-in-law.
Thank you.
And it's true.
Now, do you feel like a little bit of an obligation to keep up with the world of Drag Race, because now there's one in almost every country?
Yeah. The worst was, so I travel all the time. I work, I'm a workaholic. I know that that's not a good thing. And the older that I get, believe me, my body lets me know every day, you've got to figure out a balance. But I have yet to figure out that balance.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
Always trying to keep up
right?
with everything. But when I was hosting Drag Race Live in Vegas for 3 months.
Oh, you were out there. I didn't know that. I never knew that.
Yeah, I was there for 3 months hosting, and one of the greatest gigs of my life. I loved it. Headlining at the Flamingo was another one of those really surreal kind of moments. But as the hostess, I had to be completely aware of every detail of every current season. And there were like 5 seasons going on while I was there. I know. That's how I felt every day.
Knocked over your camera.
That timing could not have been better.
It could
not have been better.
So I got to tell you, I've got a dear friend who's watching right now, Nat Barry Backhouse from Australia. I know he's watching. He hasn't said a damn word. He appears as Midas.
He's lovely.
And I'm biased, okay, but is fucking gorgeous. He's from Australia. And you know that Australian queen who was on ages ago? I forgot her name. I'm going to tell you something. I think Nat gives her a run for her money.
Courtney Axe?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nat is amazing.
Now,
and I'm
you kept
probably embarrassing right now.
Season 2, right? This season of Down Under, correct?
Yeah, that was early. Yeah. And Nat has gone and Nat has gone, has tried out, has put in his audition video.
No, what I meant was that has Josh kept up with this season of Down Under that just ended?
I kept up with this. So, that's what I was saying. We got to the point where there were so many seasons, I couldn't sit and watch every episode of every season.
Oh, yeah.
How could you?
We divvied it up. So my husband would watch some, our roommate Michael would watch some, I would watch some, and then we'd all watch the clips, like the Cliff's Notes.
Yep,
so
and compare notes.
So I knew all the pivotal moments so that I could hold these conversations and talk about them on stage in the middle of the show. But it was so hard to compartmentalize each and every single one at one time to make sure that I kept everything straight.
You know,
you don't want to do is say, oh, this girl from Australia was on this season of the Philippines. You don't want to say that.
Yeah, but you know, I bet you would be, well, I'm sure you were, but I think you would be a fantastic host for just about anything.
Yeah.
You have this wonderful way about you.
Absolutely.
When we were working at Sleuths, nobody ever wanted the lobby host shifts. Nobody ever wanted those.
Yeah.
Except for Miss Marple. Hello. That's why I ended up doing it.
At that time, it was Michael, it was myself, and Doug loved to do it just because Doug loved to go down and cause
yes, he did.
Panic and then run away.
Yes.
I used to do it because that's the most fun to me is just having a conversation and talking to people and making them laugh.
I love that.
Delightful. Isn't it delightful?
Did you ever hear the worst story? Did you ever hear the worst story that ever happened to me at Sleuths?
Was I there for it?
No, you weren't there. I think you were there during the time. You weren't there for it, but it was during the time where I was doing Simon Connie, and I wound up going out, and I wore, because I wore my makeup underneath, I wore blinders, those giant solar blinders that old people wear.
Yeah.
And I had a sweater, a big cardigan with overstuffed cardigan with buttons on the edge. And I walked along and caught a woman's wig, a cancer patient's wig, with the button and pulled her wig off. Of course, I got suspended for a week because of it. And I'm like, it's not like I intended to frickin' do that.
Oh my God.
It's not like you went up and snatched it off her head.
Exactly. I mean, if I really wanted to piss her off, I would have said, hey, look at this. Boom.
Well, Michael, I would just like to say there's legends. There are legends about Michael Walters. Most of them.
Of course. Most
of them. very untrue. I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew. You know.
Oh my
truly,
God.
most of them untrue, and that would of course be one of them. But let's finish up with this, Ginger. Let's finish. God, this is so great. I hate to end it.
Excuse me.
Let's finish up with this. If you were a, I'm assuming
Tomato.
that you had to present your video of whatever the heck you're presenting to the drag show people, to the drag race people, right? What advice would you give someone?
People ask me all the time. Once you've been on that show, you get hundreds, if not thousands, of messages every year. Girl, it's my 18th year auditioning. What should I do? And the only advice I can give is be yourself. Yeah. Don't produce anything because they will produce it. They hire people who are Emmy Award winning to produce the story. You don't have to do it. My audition video, I didn't really audition. So I had worked with Roxy Andrews and Latrice Royale and Coco Montrese and Detox and all of them here in Orlando. And back in that time, when Drag Race was still kind of the little show that could, they would rely on the girls to give recommendations for the next season. So I got a phone call asking if I would be interested, that I had been recommended by all these girls, and they wanted a plus size girl that could really kind of hold her own. So I was like, I guess. I've never wanted to do it. I wanted to do it. But I was like doubting myself. So I was like, I'm never going to try. That way I'll never fail. But they called me and they asked me to put together like a quick audition video. And things were falling down around me. I was literally doing the lip sync number. There's stuff just falling. And I don't know. I could not for the life of me figure out why they chose me. And I'm there for my very first day on set. And one of the main producers comes up and goes, do you know why you were cast? I was like, I don't. And I would really like to. He said, well, we were watching your tape with Rue. And she couldn't stop laughing because every time you would turn, you'd knock this curtain down and we'd see the pool hanging behind you. Then you'd turn and the light would come down, but you kept going. And it was like in this world full of chaos where it was literally falling down around you, the show kept moving. And we loved that. So that's why I always tell these girls that are auditioning, let the world happen. Let life happen. Let shit fall down because it's going to. They just want to get a sense of how you deal with the shit that gets thrown at you.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That makes so much sense.
One last quote from you, which I have some difficulty reading. Wow. You said, and I quote, all of us, that was our home. That was our community. Those were our people, and we lost so much that night. I'm assuming did they ask you about Pulse?
Yeah, I mean, everybody did.
I would think they would, yeah.
Yeah, and that was so hard. I mean, it would be hard no matter what. I started at Pulse. Before Parliament House would give me the light of day, I was working at Pulse for free, like on Tuesdays, playing beer pong with the kids and having a good time. I really learned a lot about hosting while I was there. It really taught me a lot, and I loved the people that I met when I was there. So I was on tour with Battle of the Seasons. It was the last year we did the Battle of the Seasons tour. Yeah. And I remember we had the night off. I was so excited because we hadn't slept in like 8 days straight. We've been going from town to town. I blocked out all the windows. I unplugged the blinking alarm clock in the hotel room, everything. And I lay down and I fall asleep. And all of a sudden, the room just lights up with my phone. My phone just keeps going off and off and off. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm getting text messages from people that I know that are inside going, sister, I don't know if I'm going to die or not. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So then I get on Facebook of all places and I just see it playing out. And you just feel so helpless. So then we get on the bus and I'm like still kind of like in this daze, get on the bus, go to the next venue. We were in Minnesota, and the FBI met us there. And they came and they set us down and they said, all right, so you're all moving targets. You're the most famous drag queens in the world. And we're afraid that somebody's going to try to come after you next. So when you're performing, this is your closest exit. This is your personal security guard.
Honest to God?
Honest to God. And this happened at every single stop for the rest of that tour. And we have at least another month and a half left. And so on top of trying to mourn the loss of my personal community has suffered, on top of trying to put on the show that these people have paid for, you also got a group of us that are being told by the FBI, oh, hey, this might happen to you too. So let's make sure that there's an escape route and a plan.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong. I mean, it was a lot, and it's something that affected me so horribly. I had to go to therapy for it, just to try to compartmentalize feelings. Yeah. And I still have nightmares about it. And I still deal with all that shit. And
sure.
The Battle of the Seasons tour, just a couple days before, was at the Plaza Live in Orlando. And the 2 days after that, that woman from The Voice got killed there.
Yes.
And so it just everything felt so real.
Or almost surreal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think there's any of us. I'm sure that 4 people sitting here right now, and any number of who does not remember where they were. I was in Fort Lauderdale. I woke up and it was on the TV, and I said, well, that place looks familiar. What the fuck is going on there? Yeah. And it just about killed me.
Yeah, we were right. We live right down the road, up on Cayley, and I immediately. I knew we had actually were going to go down there the next karaoke. We were going to go down there, and I immediately got on the phone, and you couldn't get through to anybody.
No.
And I immediately got on the phone to 3 people that I know that went there on Latin night, like almost religiously, and said, "Are you there? Are you there?" And when they came back, I said, "Oh no, I didn't feel I got stomach flu or whatever," and they weren't there, and I was like, "It was
there for the grace of God," as they say.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you're one of those types of people where you look for the silver lining in every situation, and I mean, like, God, how do you find a silver lining in that kind of situation?
Bring it.
I will say, I have never seen a community come together as quickly and as seamlessly as the Orlando community did. And still to this day, I think it has made the community bigger and better and stronger than it was before.
I agree. Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. Folks, we're actually 16 minutes over. My God.
I know. My computer just said, talk fast. You have 5%.
Yeah, but you know what? Josh, I'm sorry. I know you as Josh. I'm so sorry, love. I'm sorry. That's how I met you. But you have to tell us what's coming up, because you've got so much stuff coming up.
Actually, very quickly,
he's ready.
Let's throw this out there, because especially for the Orlando people, you also know about this shit right here.
So this is the Hocus Pocus 2 watch party. I am in the movie. I play a drag queen, Winifred Sanderson, who gets into a fight with Bette Midler. And my first night on set, I was like, how am I going to be on set dressed as Bette Midler, in front of Bette Midler? I walk on set, and she didn't give me a chance to be nervous. She said, "You were robbed." And I was like, what? This was right after
she loves that show.
I know somebody else who said that very recently.
Kathy Najimy, her husband was in the scene. She says, give me my phone. Gives her a phone. She pulls it up. She's like, look at this. It said RuPaul at the top. And it said, what the fuck were you thinking? You had 2 chances to crown Ginger and you didn't. And Ru was just like, well. So they were such fans of us, all 3 of them. They treated us so kindly that they didn't give us a chance to be nervous. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until like a week later, like the week was wrapping up, and I was standing on the ground, and all of a sudden they take off and they're flying on broomsticks over our heads. And I was like, where am I? 8-year-old me is like freaking the freak out right now because I'm a part of this. Like, it meant the world to be a part of it. So they liked, Bette Midler really liked the way that I did her. So she gave me her blessing to put together Hocus Pocus 4. So we're now touring with our Hocus Pocus Halloween Bash. We kick off this weekend in Atlanta and we go everywhere. It ends here in Orlando at the Abbey on Halloween.
Yes.
I've got a music video and a single coming out to go along with the movie. I can't tell you what it is yet, I don't think, but you'll know it. You'll love it.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it'll put a spell on you, you know?
I can just imagine.
So, and then after that, we've got...
You've got the Hulu thing.
I've got Halloween. So on September 30th is when Hocus Pocus 2 drops on Disney Plus. And the very next day on Hulu, Monet Exchange and myself are hosting the Halloween Drag Extravaganza.
The commercial is great. Commercial is true.
So
it is.
Like, they have spared no expense. It is money. It's production value. It is, the songs are all great. It is one of the best things I've ever done with an all-star cast. And that is the day after Hocus Pocus 2. So I really thought that little Southern Baptist me would become the queen of Halloween.
And would be a busy boy.
Girl,
yeah, busy.
Yeah.
I could just imagine. I'm in my mind, I'm imagining the scene in Hocus Pocus. I have absolutely no idea, but I imagine pandemonium, which I'm looking so forward to. And quite frankly, I'm trying to figure out how to get tickets to the Savoy thing. I don't really know, but I'll figure it out. Wow. So cool.
Busy.
Ginger, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We've reached a number of people tonight, of course, live. I know it's going to blow up on what do you call that thing?
YouTube, dear.
And,
that new thing.
Trust me when I say I appreciate that. You have been an absolute delight.
Oh, Joe.
Yes.
Michael. Ginger, did you happen to see the Snatch game from Down Under?
I have not yet. I need to?
Spanky Jackson, the winner, does Dame Edna.
Oh, then I will definitely go and watch it.
You should.
So I've kept up with all but the last 3-ish episodes of Down Under. I watched like the first half of the season, and then I got busy trying to figure out this Hocus Pocus thing. But I will definitely go back and watch that.
Oh, you should.
Awesome. Now, Josh, are you going to be at Savoy?
I will be there. Yes, I'm hosting that viewing party.
Awesome. I'm
everywhere. I will show up.
Say, it's just wonderful, and
the opening of an envelope. I'll show up.
Everybody
attached. I'll show up.
Everybody told me what a wonderful, nice, unassuming person you are, and I met you looking at Jeff Jones' artwork, and Jesus Christ, that's so true. You're delightful. You are truly delightful, and I thank you for that.
Don't let my secret out there. Don't ruin my reputation. I've worked so hard.
Yeah. Oh, he's a prick.
Someone asked me the other day, and I said so. I mean, hey.
No. But I thank you. I thank you so much for being on because you were so gracious and so lovely, and you just turned to CJ and said, "I want to be on this." Wow,
it was awesome.
Just for anybody else watching out there, if you ever need to get a hold of me, because Joe came up and was like, I've sent you messages over the last 5 years and you haven't responded. I don't know how to access my messages. Just message my husband. He will get it. He'll make it happen.
Bless CJ.
And you know, and when I said it to Josh at the thing, he says, I want to do this. I was like, oh my God. It was pretty good.
Who is, for the record, also, your husband is a damn nice guy.
Depends on the day, but yes. And honestly,
anytime I've talked to him, he's really nice.
He and I are like, it's such a perfect relationship outside of the romantic side of it, because I am so good at performing and loving on people and meeting and greeting and doing all that, but I cannot keep a calendar to save my life. He is
minutia.
at the opposite side of, all right, this is what today is, this is what you're doing, this is what you're wearing, and this is where you go. And it's honestly, it works so well. He gave up his whole career to come and do this crazy drag thing with me, and it's been incredible.
Isn't that fun? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ginger Minj. If you're not clapping, you should be. Thank you so much, Ginger. I look forward to seeing. I hope to God our paths cross again in person.
I'm sure it will. I'm always going somewhere.
You're a delight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ginger Minj, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
Yeah.
And Michael.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Michael Walters. Michael, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
It has been a delight, as always. I adore you, as you know. Okay, I will talk to you soon.
Join. I appreciate it.
It's
love to you and Doug, okay?
Take care, and I love you, Doug. I'm sure you can hear me, buddy. Take care, kids. Jack.
Oh, I told you, isn't he awesome?
Cool was that?
Awesome, right?
How fun was that? All right. Very quickly, while Jack is still here, I'm going to say this. Joe Zimmer, will be appearing doing some magic at Michael Wanzi's trivia anniversary celebration on Thursday night. So come down and see us.
The 22nd, I believe.
The 22nd. It starts at 6:30, does it not?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The trivia. And I'll be doing some magic, and I'll be doing my Osaka set, which is pretty fucking good, actually. So come down and see us. And look forward to some new shows. We got lots of good stuff coming up.
Yep.
We've got, oh my God. I can't even think of who's coming.
At some point, we're actually even going to have Mr. Zimmer.
Yes, there will be a show where we will show the interview with Mr. Ron Schneider on Mr. Ron Schneider's Wild Rides, interviewing me. And Ron and Jack and myself will kibitz on all of those. And then I will allow them to ask me questions about my career. How cool is that?
God help you all now. Hey, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I mean, seriously, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been great. We'll see y'all soon. And I love you too, Deanna Lucas Varner. And I know that Michael loves you as well. And I know Jack loves you too. We love all of you. And I truly appreciate all of you. Jack, I love you, kiddo.
I'll talk to you soon.
Be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, finally, I'm going to say it as I love to say, go out there and be the helper. Find your joy, find your love, find who you can help, and be all that all this world needs. You're all terrific, and I know that. I love you. I thank you for being here tonight. I hope you enjoyed. I did. I had a great time. And take care, everybody. Bye-bye.